This is Yuri from Oracle Red Bull Racing, and today we're gonna have a look at Montreal. It's for VS week 5 already, and this time we're in the Ferrari. Let's have a look how this looks like in a Ferrari and see how we drive this tricky track. Right, so here we are on the back straight, starting a lap. We're in the Ferrari for a change, and Montreal has historically been a very strong track for the Ferrari, but we'll see how the Mercedes does against this. Obviously it's a new car this season. The Ferraris has historically been good over the curbs, but about the curbs and the chicanes, they change the track limits. So we're gonna need to be really careful not getting off tracks here, and the track limits are that you need to keep at least 2 tires off the whole curb, so the red and white curbing. We use a mark on the right side here. Use this inside curb to get the car rotated. Right. Second chicane, we want to keep the speed up. Use a lot of the grass, left side. And try to get a good exit from here. And then the first chicane with the curbs here, where you have to be careful with the new off tracks. Here's the track on the left side. And we want to use those high curbs, the white curbs, but again not too much because we will get off tracks. We want to set up for a good exit from the airplane. And then all we have left is to run to the last chicane and the last chicane. The last chicane we want to brake in between the 3 and the 2, and it's very important to be careful with the off tracks here, especially finishing your quali lap. There will be a lot of laps invalidated here. Go over to the right side. And finish your lap. That's the lap around Montreal, and let's have a closer look how this looks like. So here we are at the start of the lap. You want to drive in the middle of the straight a bit. That makes it easier to line the car up on the right side here for a braking zone. So it's a bit easier to straighten our car up. So when you're doing the race or you're starting a lap, get the car at least in the middle of the track here across start finish. When you're finishing a quali lap, do the shortest run to the line and keep it to the right. So you want to keep it to the right, and then I use this, the start of this patch of tarmac here is braking. And I try to brake quite aggressively towards the apex. And the reason for that is that we don't really have a straight after this corner. We don't need to end up too far to the left side on exit. So you can take this corner and try to gain all the time on the entry. So what this looks like is I start going over to the inside quite early. And then I try to use this inside curb here to kind of catch me. If you end up getting your tires on this side of the curb, with the right angle, it ends up catching you and pulling you to the left a bit. Sometimes it bounces the car up a bit higher, but it still won't matter too much in the Ferrari. The Ferrari, as we talked about, is quite good over these curbs. Then for turn 2, you don't want to end up all the way on the right side here, but it's not necessarily to enter the car all over to the left here to open up the corner. So you want to leave yourself a bit of room entering the corner to not be completely on the right side when you enter it, but don't have to go over too far. Stop the car pretty much as hard as you can and then follow the inside curb in first gear, and then slowly start going to the throttle until you get to the outside curb. If you go too early on the throttle here, the rear will try to step out a bit and you'll be too much in the TC. And for the second chicane, what I use as a braking reference are where the skid marks start here. And then you want to use the first curb here. And again, sometimes it pulls you towards you a bit, which is actually what I had in this lap. So you see I jump over it and it kind of bumps up too much and it pulls you towards you. It loses you maybe 100s or so, but it's still worth to go over that curb every time. And what it does here, if it pulls you towards you a bit, it opens up the left-hander so you don't lose too much. You lose a bit in the right-hander, but you gain that on the corner exit. Then for this one, you can use a lot of the gas on the inside here. For some reason, it doesn't really give you an off track really fast. I didn't use that much this time because the curb kind of pulls me towards it on the first right-hander. You can use even more, and then we want to get as close to this wall as we possibly can to just maximize the exit speed. Bring the car over to the left so that we have the least amount of friction taking the inside line in this flat-out right-hander. And you want to make sure that you keep along this wall here. So keep along this wall, keep along this white line. That way, when we get over here for the braking, we don't have to start bringing our car over all the way to the right, and we can start braking on the right side in a straight line. I want to brake not quite parallel with this white line, but coming from the inside a bit. That way we can brake in a straight line and use this bit of tarmac here. I want to brake in a straight line and use a bit of this tarmac as much as I can to open up the next left-hander. The next left-hander, I need to sacrifice. Meaning that we just go really slow and try to open up the next right-hander for it. We can't use too much of this curb anymore. The right side tires need to be at least within the white line. So left tires I look for on the edge of this curb here. And then try to make it so that you have a good exit out of the next right-hander. And the way to do that is not go too fast, not go to the inside too fast here, and try to open up the right-hander. And then try to lift a bit getting into it, so that on the exit we can go flat out and carry the speed out. This curb here, we can use this red and white curb, but if you go all the way over, it upsets the car too much. So you can use the red and white curb, but don't go all the way over. Then we're running up to the first chicane where they change the track limits a lot. You used to be able to go over the inside curb a lot there. We can't anymore. For the braking, again, we want to use a bit of this tarmac here. So when I'm coming up, I'm not all the way to the left here. I've got my car angled a bit towards the tarmac to open up the next corner. So we're braking a bit on the tarmac. Used to be able to keep the car over the white curb completely. We can't anymore. The limit now is if we go up a bit. The limit is that the left side tire needs to be on the track. They're saying in the rules here that the edge of the red-white curbing is the limit. I've seen already that sometimes when my tires are still touching the tarmac here, it will still give you enough track. So you need to be really careful. The limit is somewhere where the outside tires start hitting the red and white curbing. This chicane is not too important because we're trying to set up for the exit here. And the last chicane is more important. So left side tires on a red and white curb, use this one, and then get your car straight over and get your left tires on top of this one. This one's really hard to get the off track here because if you go even further than this, you start going over the curb and it pulls you all the way towards the left. So left side tires on top of this one, and again, try to keep it flat out here. Get as close to the wall as possible to try to get a good exit. And we got to run up to the hairpin here. I use the 2 marker as a braking reference. I try to brake quite straight. Set the car up to turn all the way in the middle of the apex here, do most of the turning, and then start hammering the throttle, keeping a bit of this outside line here to open up the steering. We got the back straight, and all we can think about is try to not get the off track in the last chicane now. Braking point is somewhere in the middle of the 3 and 2. Use all the track to the left side. And again, what we're looking for here, we'll go from the top view, is the left side tires need to be barely touching this red and white curbing. That's how it looks like from above. So the left side tires need to be barely touching this red and white curbing. It will be the same for the left-hander here. The right side tires need to be barely hitting this red and white curbing. You look on the right side. This is about the limit of how far you can go. And again, the closer you are to this limit, the more speed you'll be able to carry through the chicane, and ultimately, the better your lap time will be. So the chicane is very much risk reward. If you think you've got a good lap going, take it easy through here, making sure to not get the off track is good. If you already have a banker in the first lap and you want to get those extra couple positions, try to really get close to this limit here. Try to really send it as far as allowed. and you will be able to gain quite a bit of time here because you can straight line it more. And then on the exit, you want to make sure to barely miss this tire barrier to use all the runoff here that you're allowed afterwards. And then run up to the line, keep it to the right side. And that's the lap in the Ferrari around Montreal. So that was a lap around Montreal, very tricky circuit, especially for qualifying to avoid the off tracks and also the 0x on the walls. Hope you learned something. If you want more of these type of videos, make sure to subscribe to the channel and see you next week for the next track guide.